So let's talk about building something truly great. Forget the old school business textbooks for a second. Today, we're not just looking at a simple list of rules. We're diving into a full-on blueprint, one that's designed to completely rewire how we think, how we tackle problems, and ultimately, how we build success. This is all about crafting that entrepreneurial mindset, right from the ground up.
In this tagline, it really gets straight to the heart of it. Pay close attention to that key word, redesigning. We're not talking about a few small tweaks or a fresh coat of paint. No, this is about a fundamental overhaul of how we think and how we act, all with one goal in mind, hitting a whole new level of excellence.
But that's the big question, right? How do you actually build a mindset like that? It's definitely not about learning a few clever tricks or hacks. It's about carefully constructing an entirely new mental framework. And something like that, it requires a really deliberate, really thoughtful design.
To really get this redesign, we have to start at the very beginning, at the source, and that is the why. This first part is all about laying down a rock-solid foundation of purpose. Because honestly, without a powerful why, your how and your what are just kind of floating out there with no direction. Now, at the very core of this entire system is what's called the 3P culture. It's a really powerful trio, a crystal clear purpose, a really well-defined process, and a genuine, authentic focus on people. Think of this as the rich soil where excellence can actually take root and grow.
So what fuels this culture? Well, it comes down to three core values: sincerity, nobility, which is all about acting with integrity and high moral principles, and service. And listen, these aren't just buzzwords you stick on a poster. They are the actual compass that guides every single decision and every action you take within this framework.
All right, so we've got our purpose, our why. Now let's get into the how. This is where we see that foundation get put into action through 5 key strategic pillars. This is where all that theory starts to get real.
These 5 pillars are basically the engine driving the whole transformation. You can think of them as a structured pathway, a roadmap that guides someone from just learning things to actually getting out there and making a real, tangible impact. Let's break down each one. First up is design thinking. This completely flips traditional education on its head. Suddenly, learning isn't about passively memorizing facts anymore. It becomes this active, hands-on process of solving real-world problems. It pushes you to stay curious, to constantly innovate, and those are absolutely key traits for any entrepreneur.
Next, we zoom in on essential life skills. Cognitive, social, emotional skills. People call them soft skills, but let's be real, they're some of the hardest and most critical skills to master. We're talking about resilience, being able to bounce back from failure, and collaboration, building powerful teams. And you'd build these through hands-on stuff like clubs and competitions.
The third pillar. This is where the rubber really meets the road. It builds this vital bridge between what you learn in a classroom and the actual real world. Here, you're not just doing case studies. You are tackling actual industrial problems, applying your knowledge where the stakes are high.
Pillar 4 is all about creating a direct pipeline straight into the business world. This means immersing yourself in top industries, really understanding what they need, what their challenges are, what their strategies look like. It makes sure every skill you're developing is not just relevant, but totally cutting edge.
And finally, we have the 5th pillar, social service. This is what grounds the entire mission in a purpose that's so much bigger than just yourself. Giving back isn't an afterthought here. It's baked right into the process. It builds a sense of responsibility that goes way beyond just personal or financial gain.
Okay, so we've talked about the why and the how. Now let's dig into the what, the actual tangible outcome. What kind of professional does a system like this end up creating? This part is all about defining the specific qualities this framework is built to develop.
And the result is what we call the 3C Pro. The idea here is that the ideal professional isn't a one-trick pony, not at all. It's someone who has this perfect balance of 3 key things: the right attitude, sharp business skills, and solid technical skills. Every single one is absolutely essential to the whole.
Let's just double-click on attitude for a second, because it is so important here. In this model, attitude isn't just one thing. It's a dynamic balance between 2 traits. Curiosity, that's the engine for innovation, and accountability, which is the drive to actually see things through and get results. You absolutely have to have both. Okay, so now it's time to bring it all home. In this last section, we're going to see how the purpose, those 5 pillars, and these competencies all lock together to create a system that's not only unique, but also incredibly powerful.
So what really makes this whole blueprint stand out? Well, it all goes back to that deep foundation of purpose, that powerful why. See, this isn't just a grab bag of techniques, it's a complete ecosystem that's built on a strong culture and really clear core values.
And that purpose isn't just some nice idea sitting on a shelf. It gets put into motion through a very deliberate process. Those 5 pillars we just walked through. That's the strategic how. They're the gears that connect everything you're learning directly to real-world application and real-world impact.
And the whole point of this process, the what, is to build a complete person, a complete professional, not just someone who knows a lot, but someone who has the right attitude, the business smarts, and the technical chops, all working together in perfect sync.
And that brings us to the real secret sauce here. Look, any one of these pieces is valuable on its own. A strong purpose? Great. A practical process? Super useful. A skilled person? Of course. But true excellence, the kind this blueprint is all about, that only shows up when you integrate them all, seamlessly. The purpose fuels the process, and the process builds the person. It's a powerful, self-reinforcing cycle.
So, there it is. That's the blueprint for building excellence from the ground up. We've seen the whole plan, from that deep foundation of purpose all the way to the powerful pillars that bring it to life. The design is all there. I guess the only question left is, are you ready to start building?